Okay guys, were those some pretty epic fails? Obviously that person trained really hard or practiced, and the outcome was not exactly what they thought. Thought it was hilarious, just want to share that with you guys because failure is part of life. Sometimes we go and we try something and we just fail. You don't always pass your driver's license test the first time, and it stinks. It's really hard. We're going to talk about the Israelites today and how they had some big decisions and a lot of change and how they responded to that change. So join me in Numbers 13, verse 27, and we're going to look at what was going on with the Israelites. The spies, so they have already come through Egypt and they've been saved from slavery, and they're with Moses and they're walking to the promised land. And when they get close, Moses sends out these spies, and the spies come back with this report. So that's where we're at in verse 27. So the spies gave Moses this account. We went into the land in which you sent us, and it does flow with milk and honey. And here is the fruit. They brought back examples of what they saw in the land.
I hear it's flowing with milk and honey. Sounds sticky.
But, in verse 28, but the people who live there are very powerful, and their cities are fortified and large. Sounds like they're not responding very well. Let's find out. Okay, later in verse 30, it says, Caleb silenced the people before Moses, and he said, we should go up and we should take possession of the land, for we can certainly do it. Verse 31, the spies continue and they say, but the men who had gone up with Caleb, the other spies, they said, we can't attack those people. They are stronger than we are. And they spread among the Israelites a bad report about the land that they had explored. I don't know about you guys, but I would be, if I were Caleb, I would be frustrated. Like, did you guys see the same thing I saw? We saw the promised land. We saw exactly what God promised us. And if God is leading us to something, he's going to give us victory in it. And I bet Caleb had to be so frustrated. And guys, reading this frustrates me because they chose to believe a bad report. They gave into fear. They have all these changes and all these things happening in their lives, but God had proven himself time and time again. He took them from slavery. He took them from certain death and was walking them into this land of plenty, a land of victory. But they chose to believe a bad report and to walk in fear instead of faith. And the Israelites, that generation that chose to believe that bad report, they didn't make it into the promised land. They never got to see what God had promised them because they didn't follow after God. They didn't walk the walk that he asked them to. They chose to be paralyzed by fear, and they paid a really heavy price for that. And it just challenges me every time I think about this and read these scriptures, because what areas in my life am I maybe not walking in faith? What areas am I leaning more towards fear rather than faith? What has God called me to do that I'm choosing to let fear prevent me from doing? Because if I want to learn anything from this and apply it to my life, I need to start doing that so I can walk in the fullness of what God has for me. And that's my challenge for you guys. Pray and ask God. Examine your heart. Lord, what are some areas in my life that I am not trusting you with? And he's going to reveal it to you. And he promises over and over again in the Bible that when we follow what he says, he's going to bless us. Now, it may not look like the way you want, but it's still going to be a blessing. So I challenge you, in seasons of change, during times of fear, choose to follow God and choose to walk in faith. See you guys.